I'm recovering from an illness. Pink eye in this one. I mean, you probably can't tell, but because I didn't want to record because I couldn't bear looking at myself with it. It makes my eyes water, and I didn't want to. That's too far, man. I can't put that on the channel. Yeah, cough that won't go away. I'll be trying to go to sleep, and I'm coughing. My body will hurt too, and it's has not been a stellar week. And the only thing, nothing. But actually, one minor thing that's good is that spot on my lip from that fucking Red Lobster is clearing up, which, thank God. I think what worked in that situation is that I threatened to kill myself if it stayed. So whenever things go wrong, I think that'll be like the new move. Anyways, the latest video I did was about forbidden words, and I had a lot of fun with that one. But yeah, and the script is written on a children's place. Well, it's not a script, it's just 4 words written down here so I can remember what I'm supposed to be talking about. But yeah, it being on a tag it's gonna be thematic, certainly. And I'm not wearing a shirt, not because it's a weird sex thing, although I guess it could be. If you want to believe that I'm not wearing pants or anything like that, you can, if that'll do something for you. But I am. So there was another word that was supposed to be on the list that I decided to cut because it was too serious. It would have been a great downer. Me bringing up, well, I did include 2 slurs, so I didn't want to do too much in that area, because even just thinking about it, heavy stuff, and I've been feeling bad, a little hopeless because of being sick, and that's never, being sick physically is not good for my mental health. That's just, anyways, I guess forbidden, hidden, super secret word that had to be cut because it was too raw for the masses is rights. And I'm gonna get into that later, but first I want to sort of explain the hopelessness I feel, and it has a lot to do with the recent the many dramas that come out all the time about someone in some indie field, the Vivzy Pop and Brandon Rogers being racist, Toby Fox not wanting to translate his fucking games and do the tours or whatever for the concert. What was it? Most of the cast of the Digital Circus all having some sort of allegation or whatever, and it's not surprising. I think the thing is that as when you are not the default society wants you to be, you have to go, and you just will, because you grow a spine or whatever. You go into any piece of media / content, entertainment, or problematic medias, and you go into anything knowing that you probably won't be represented. I imagine if I were a woman and I wanted to pick up a shonen anime, was that thing? JJK doesn't have any women. Does Dragon Ball have women? No. So, and when I watch indie animation and it's white as hell, I think, well, sure. And yeah, but I've accepted it. That's just, it's how it is. And I'm not really qualified enough to talk about the indie space and how it's like inherently racist or whatever, and how it only supports like the most popular people instead of what's actually interesting. But that's like some video essay for someone else to make. I'm here to talk about bigger things. Just now, I saw a tweet where someone was complaining that Trisha Paytas or whatever the fuck, was on this show called Hacks, which, you know, I've never seen, but I've heard of it before. I remember seeing it on HBO Max, which is, and they didn't like Trisha being on the show because she's a Zionist or Jewish or, you know, racist or whatever. And the show is on HBO Max. It's like, there's that white people don't have to go through. Well, I mean, I imagine, I guess if you're still a white woman, you'd still have to realize that some, like a show like the Transformers movies probably aren't for you, but like that, they really don't have to, they try or don't have to think about, like, you know, is HBO just fucking evil? They are. Paramount, they're all evil, and like they really think that the shit they watch is like, you know, sorry to loop back to it, just these indie, small, you know, humble art. And it's not. I mean, I called it fag slop in my tweet, saying, you know, white people be like, you know, the Zionist company hired a Zionist actor, and yeah, but it probably is gay. Whatever. Yo, what's next? I suppose it is appropriate that I spent like over 5 minutes talking about various forms of media content and such, because that is part of why there is no hope. There's so much media content, filler, whatever the shit, to get you throughout the day, and when you combine that with the state of denial that people have to be in to exist in a world where they're constantly dehumanized by jobs, and it starts with school. There's this picture where this guy, he's like a suicide bomber or whatever, a terrorist, and he's writing like a manifesto about how he's anti-authority and that it all starts with a second grade teacher, and when people post that, I don't think they really rap. I mean, I guess the tragedy is that the person, the guy, the suicide bomber or terrorist or whatever, he's so fucking stupid that he can't wrap his head around like actual systems of authority and how that affects people. Can't fully understand it. He's just too dumb to get it. But you know, I think when people say that about, you know, right-wings and them, you know, I don't know, hating women or whatever, or just being stupid, it's not funny. It's not funny. Whatever. I was like, why am I even talking about that? The point is that is coming to me. The point's coming to me. The point is that with a constant state of denial people have to be in to work and, you know, be in school and then exist in shackles bound, etc., etc. And then they're constantly, on that fucking phone, listening to music that they don't remember, watching a show, playing a game while you got a show running on the second screen, or a TikTok or whatever the fuck. And it's easy to forget about real problems, to forget about issues, and that's the reason why people do it. And there's nothing wrong with recreation. Obviously, that's just a human thing. It's not a human thing. That's an animal thing. You're entitled to do nothing. You're not supposed to be busy all the time. But when that is compounded with the laziness, and then the constant distractions, and then rights, there was this video I saw about a woman's TikTok where I think she's wealthy or something like that, does well for herself, and she comes home to watch videos of cops taking people in and stuff, and a lot of people were wondering, what the fuck? Isn't that a little brutal? And the truth is that's a normal thing. That desire for violence and bloodlust is a completely normal thing for people who believe in the concept of rights. When people say they're going to take your rights away, you sort of unconsciously buy into, accept the idea that it's okay to do the thing in the first place. That in one condition, it's okay. And the biggest case of this is with ICE. When they say something about Obama had the most deportations, and we didn't see videos of them doing it violently. But the truth is that the act of taking someone from their home and separating them from their families or friends or whatever is inherently violent. But because people are instilled with the idea of rights, and that you can that it is sometimes okay to do that to people if they're bad, then that's where any hope I have just dies. It's fucking what's her face, Jinx Monsoon. She had like this little comeback about people saying that the LGBTs are out to groom the kids, and her comeback was that it's a real uphill battle, because from birth you're propagandized and coerced into in that case it was being straight, but in the case of the world at large, you're born into an incredibly violent world where it's sometimes just where it's accepted that it's okay to have men shackle people, beat them to death, stuff like they think it's okay. What was it, just yesterday there was that thing about some guy in Texas going to jail for something he didn't do, and they always highlighted that it was something he didn't do, and he got the death penalty. And there was a video of him doing poetry or whatever, and I didn't want to play it because I don't want to remember his voice. Anyways, that you had to specify that it was for something that he didn't do, and so that's why it's wrong for him to get executed, because he's innocent, and not that fundamentally people should not be getting executed by the state and executed in prison, etc. But there's so many people who just believe that rights, and they how can you get someone to not be racist when they just believe that, when they believe in rights, that it's okay to just say to to at any point suspend that for someone who has done something wrong and now they're not a human. I was at you can't win with them. There is no winning. There is winning, I guess, because obviously, I used to believe in that, but there's no winning. There's no winning. There's no winning. There is, you technically can, but on a mass scale, there's no winning. I don't believe that. So that's why I didn't want to put rights in that in the last video, because it's just not happy. That the mental cucking it's from birth. It's from birth. I guess that's like a nice callback to the AI fruit cuck horn, rights. Of course, if I don't believe in rights, I don't believe, you obviously can't believe in voting, the idea that you can change the system from within. It's like, you can't sue the president because the president is the one in charge. It doesn't matter if he is a pedophile because his underlings are all also pedophiles. What would it accomplish? You can't. Why would they take down one of their own? You say you can. Well, you beat the system from within. No, you don't, because it has no incentive to change unless it literally will not continue. Unless it's threatened with death, it will not change. And if you're willing to play their game and vote and whatever, it's not in danger. So, but of course, many people do believe in voting. And speaking of voting, there's this show that it's not an obscure show, Abbott Elementary. This one character, Jacob, he's one of the teachers. It takes place in school, which I'm not comfortable with, but I mostly just watch to see. I try to watch and separate the school aspect. I try to analyze it for like its comedy, and because my sister tries to get me, she wants me to watch it, so I do. Anyways, the thing with Jacob is that he's a white guy in a black school, and he's very woke, and like he's got a good heart, but with the show being on network television, ABC, Disney Plus, Hulu, all those things, he's the type to get out there and vote and whatever, and that character can't, that they can bring up things like AI schools, which they are trying, I think is already a real thing, or they're trying to get the ball rolling on that. They can bring up something as current as that, but Sudan or Palestine, they haven't said anything, and they can't say anything. They cannot say anything because, well, it's on network television. Network television, the people who run that it's in their best interests that people don't care, that they forget. And I don't know, what do you do? Because whenever I find myself forgetting, I feel awful, but then I also feel awful when I think about it. So I have to forget if I want to like move that day. I don't know. And I mean, I guess it's not like it's not like I ever really have I have the privilege of forgetting, how fucked the world is. Because like, if I step outside, I can look at the corner, go to the corner of the street, and there will be police there, and compared it to an occupying army. Many great thinkers have compared the police to an occupying army, and are they wrong? No, I agree. Small addition that which is kind of I made, after some shower wisdom, which kind of funny that I even forgot to leave it out because I started by mentioning, Vivzy Pop, whatever, but in movies and the media content, but celebrities, the way people put them on a pedestal, that weird malicious behavior, is part of rights and the way people hold certain people above others and justify special treatment or cruel treatment. I guess cruel could also be special, especially cruel. But well, that's a little addition there.